Hello! Today we got... Ooh! Peach Bellini. Ah, yes. Journaling. The one habit that separates the normie failures of the world from the Chad Jeff Bezoses of society. I just made a video about how I challenged myself to become a true Sigma male by journaling for 30 days straight, and I actually am not perceptibly better as a person, but I actually did enjoy it, and I think I might hold on to this habit. There is one thing I wasn't able to cover though, and that's the process of finally starting a journal and covering all your bases so you don't give up on the habit just after 3 days of trying, like you did last time. In this video, I'm gonna cover what I did to start journaling, how I removed as much friction as I could from the journaling process, and how I made it as sustainable as possible. If you wanted to get started in journaling, you're in the right place. So let's get into the video, and I hope you enjoy it. How do you even start? So I have to admit, I have tried journaling before, and it just didn't stick. I wrote a couple entries here and there, but never kept it up. Part of it was lacking the discipline to keep going, or any motivation at all to keep this up, but a lot of it was because I just didn't know what to write. I thought you could just jump in and say, you started journaling, write down what's in your head and be done with it. I'm sure that's exactly how it is for some people, but for someone like me, who loses interest in anything with the slightest amount of friction, I had to find a way to create a structure around journaling to make sure it's as easy as possible to get into and to keep doing. So I looked up a couple of videos about journaling and check out what other people seem to be doing and what I could emulate for myself. There were a whole lot of journaling styles, and finding one that works for you really seems to be the key to making this a sustainable habit. So I wanted to do the right thing and make sure I can keep it up as well. After doing a little bit of research, I found that in the sea of journaling styles, there seem to be two prevalent styles that come up to the forefront of journaling. Number 1, the log. This way is very simple, just logging and recounting events and making sure you write down everything of note that happened in that day. It's a nice, simple, and repeatable process that anyone can follow, and it'll help people look back and see what they were able to accomplish in the past and check on old milestones that we might take for granted today. This is a very simple way to start journaling, and I recommend it to anyone who's just starting out. But when I think about my objectives with journaling and what I want to get out of it, I don't think I can be able to get an in-depth look into the state of my mind on any given day with this style of journaling, which brings me to the next style, the Philosopher. This style is a bit more complex. It covers ideas, concepts, feelings, thoughts, emotions, reactions, and everything in between. Lots of veteran journal keepers look so adept at how they're able to just put all of their thoughts on a page, but it really seems to be a lot of work. So much work goes into digging deep and thinking about how you reacted to certain situations, and how that is caused by your personality and how people perceive you and all your actions and all of that. Not everyone can just put all of their complex thoughts and emotions into words, let alone full-on journal entries that are supposed to be readable. This is the writing style I think I can benefit from the most, and I think it might be the way I start looking at my actions in the past and patterns in my behavior that I can try to improve on or change. But it's just way too hard to write like this every single day, and I might find myself burnt out by the end of the week. I have to find middle ground that helps me go in the right direction, but also stays very doable, even on the hard days. Finding my journaling style. After doing some research and trying to see how other people journal, I found a way to incorporate both styles of journaling that I've been seeing everywhere. And this is Brick's patented journal entry format. This format is something that I thought really works out for me. It stays simple when I want to keep it simple, but allows for the flexibility if I wanted to go more in-depth in my journal writing. So on my daily journal entry format, there are 3 parts. Let me break it down for you. Stuff. Stuff is a section that goes on the top half of my front page. I know, it sounds really dumb, but I really didn't think about it that much. I just think stuff is all the things I want to get out of my head in the morning, be it how I slept the night before, or even just a space for a little brain dump for all the scattered ideas that I get through the day. This is where I think you can see more of a record of my thoughts and plans for the day in a macro perspective. It's a very easy look back to, and also write because it's in bullet form. Here's an example. Slept today at 5:30 a.m. Didn't sleep very well, only had 4 to 5 hours today. Got to finish my script today. got to plan my next video. I really want to buy a racing wheel. I've been feeling really lazy recently. Planning to cook pão de queijo today. I want pizza. I want pizza. It really went from how I slept to my to-do list for the day to I want pizza. If that isn't a brain dump, then I don't know what is. But really, this is what I love about stuff. Instead of taking the approach of being way too serious when writing a journal entry, you can just do the bare minimum and write down your stuff for the day. No pressure, no structure, no having to write for very long, and by the end of it, you can look back at what you've written down and see an overview of what you've been up to. I personally love stuff, and if you want to get into journaling, I think writing down stuff in the morning would really be a great place to start. 2. Morning thoughts. The morning thoughts section goes on the bottom half of the front page. This is where it gets a little bit more serious. I mean, I guess you could go into how much you're craving pizza, but this section is all about writing down everything you're feeling after waking up, and everything you want to talk about before you start your day. If you're feeling anxious about any particular event that you have planned, you can write about it. If you're feeling like you don't want to do anything, you can write about it. I think most times when people just wake up, they're probably feeling very head empty, no thoughts, but this is where you can take your journaling to the next level by really digging deep and trying to write down how you're feeling and what you're thinking about right as you get up and get an introspective and quiet start to your day. Sometimes I find that when my head is so empty, when starting out my day, I start thinking about all the things that make me happy. And without sounding like a white girl fresh from her yoga session, it makes me feel so grateful. Here's a little morning entry that I found when rifling through my journal. I'm learning so much about editing, and I feel really productive. Not sure when I can publish the next video, but I'll take my time with it. If I rush it, I might get into a point where I don't want to edit anymore. And we wouldn't want that. Sometimes the feeling of passion can be so fleeting. I should try to really pace myself when I can. Night thoughts. I like to reserve the entire back of the page for the night thoughts section. Some nights I might have less to say, but I really want to be given the space so I can really vent at the end of the day if I wanted to. Right before bed, it's time to write about your day in more depth and try to keep a record of events that transpired in the last few hours so everything's still fresh in your mind. And you can look back at how every single day of your life was filled with so many little things, even if we think nothing of note really happens in our lives on the normal days. But I swear, just taking time to sit down and think about all the little things that went on in your day, from the little things that annoyed you about your friends or your family, or the big things like the huge waves of emotions we can get sometimes. It doesn't have to be very long. It doesn't have to go too deep into all your feelings or emotions, but just having the time to sit down at the end of your day and reflect on your life really makes for a lovely wind down routine. You can also think about it as a place to vent or a good friend you can talk to at the end of the day. It actually really does feel pretty nice. Putting them all together. So, I've been writing in my journal twice a day now, every single day for 5 weeks, and having this hybrid system has really worked out for me. When I get up in the morning, I make sure to fit journaling into my routine and write down stuff and morning thoughts. I'll be honest, I don't really have a morning routine, but having this to do first thing in the morning has really made me feel productive right at the start of my day. I can kind of kick my brain into gear and get it working right away by writing so early, and I've been enjoying the results of it. My nights are pretty similar. I now have something to do right before bed, and it's created this lovely way to wind down. Suffice to say, this method has really worked out for me. I think it's because I took the time to really think about what I want from journaling and what I enjoy doing, and tried my best to make a system that works. It's not perfect, not at all, so I took the time to read all of my past entries and took notes where I could, and I learned that there really might not be one singular way to succeed with journaling. The way I like to write could be completely different from how you would, and the way I like to write could change depending on where I am in my life. It's still a process, but it becomes so easy to track and iterate on because you literally have notes about your life. You just have to make sure to write down changes you want to make, and sooner or later, you can revisit your old style and compare to how your new style could be better or worse. Having so much data about yourself and keeping a log of your brain really makes for an interesting look at you as a whole person, but it also shows you just how dynamic and changing we really are, and it's such a pleasure to see. So I encourage you to try this method out, or maybe even a stripped down version of it so the barrier of entry isn't even that high, and you can probably start journaling and really keep at it. Make sure you keep track of what you like, what your objectives are, and I think you'll be fine. I'm really excited to see what you do with your journaling journey, and where it takes you. I'm still very new to this, but I'm trying my best to make it a real habit that actually sticks. So I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments and maybe some tips from you about how you can make journaling as friction-free as possible. And that's it. I hope you really liked the video. Leave a comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I hope it really helped you out. Bye. How do you even start? I feel a burp coming up. Yummy.